All right, we are back, fired up for another episode. Jason thinks I'm going to fall asleep, but he doesn't realize I'm about to turn it on.
Getting after it. I love it. I love it. Got that fire in the belly. You're simplifying things in your life, and now look at you. You're ready to go. You look so calm. That's what happens, right? When you start simplifying, you're more relaxed. Not as many. I call it like bricks, right? You don't have as many bricks on the back, right? Just kind of weighing you down.
Dude, it's something I've underestimated a lot, like over the years. It's that's the key, you know. We hear, you know, in a lot of circles, simple solves the complex, right? Like you know, the biggest reason why people don't take action is fear and overwhelm. And when you just take things in bite-sized pieces, one step at a time, you stack small wins, you get big wins, you know, like that's how it works. Like, but it's simple to hear that, but you know, like it's so easy to just overcomplicate stuff. I feel like every business I've run, I think I've done that.
Well, I think it's human nature, right? But like if we want to kind of tie it back into agents, right? Like a lot of agents don't want to make their calls. That initial, overwhelm of I have to make X amount of calls per day. It's like just make one. And once you get started, the next one will be easier. Then the next one will be easier. Then the next one. So trying to keep like a simple routine like that. I was talking to the team about this the other day, kind of stacking, right? Stack the shit that you hate doing first, right? So if you get up and you hate working out, get your workout in, right? And then you set up a win. And then stack it with do your calls after you have that kind of high of like, okay, pumped up, got my workout in, now I'm going to make my calls. Now, if you just did your workout and you did your calls, if you did nothing else for the rest of the day, at least you have 2 wins early on. But here's the key. Once you have that early success and that stacking, you're going to keep building on that, and then you're going to set up, successful days. So that's one thing that you could do to kind of keep it simple, right?
100%. Yeah. It's a bunch of small wins stacked, and it's giving you that positive feedback loop, you know. And you can start to battle kind of downhill, you know, roll downhill. But I know where I want to go with simple. We're going to talk about simple. We're going to talk about tech. That's what we're going to talk about, because it's a bit of a problem of mine, has been over the years. And
shiny object, Chad.
Well, the other problem is I know how to decipher the tech really fast and put systems in place and all. And like I've learned, like I thought it was like, oh, I'm just good at this, or like KV Core. I'm good at, this system. It give me an app, a phone, a website, a CRM, and even like I'll like systemize how to make it like a good workflow for me, like day to day. Like that's like one of my core competencies. I'm like actually really good at that. Becomes addicting though. Like you get like I feel like systems people get obsessed with systems. We have to have a system around everything. I know.
Here's your problem. I've seen this in the past, right? So you're good at systems and processes and technology, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to go out, take a new technology, find a way to make it so it's so simple for one of your team members to use it, and then what happens? They don't fucking use it.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's only as good as what they'll use.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a real world example. So, a lot of people have the automations of, okay, the first time a lead comes in, it's going to automatically send them this, and then it's going to say this, and then a day later it's going to say this, and you will create all the systems and everything, what it says and how to say it, and every single day on the timeline, all they have to do is follow the process, and it's so simplified. And what?
They don't do it. Like you know better than anybody, like you're saying here. Like we had it all laid out. We had it laid out in a system, and Jason, you've been in this, where you can drag people to like basically hot, warm, cold, and it not only automates the follow-up, but tells you when to manually follow up. Like it literally, you just follow it. I'm like, we're good. By the way, this is all about a year and a half ago. I set this up for transparency for people listening. So it's all set up. It's just all you gotta do is just drag the people. What's hot mean? I tell you. What's cold mean? I'll tell you. It's warm. You know, they know. And then you just follow. And I'm done, right? I can check out, go sit on the beach and make my money because I built it.
Yeah.
It's just, and then no one follows.
Now you're missing the human element and all that, and like you said, you're automating yourself out of the business. And I think we both kind of saw that, where it's like, okay, kind of, I'm in the same boat. I want to keep it simple, and we're moving over to Follow Up Boss, and the integration's complete now. So we're actually having training, today, if you see this podcast. But so we're getting trained on the system. Then they're like, hey, do you want all these automated emails to go out? And how do you want this to go? And have all this different stuff. And I'm like, no, I do not want all that. She's like, why not? I go, because I want them making the calls and doing the actual work that's needed. Because anytime we have that crutch, they're going to take advantage of it and not do, the stuff that's going to move the needle.
And they get lazy. And I've been there too. Like it's like you're getting spoiled. It's like, somebody's making you dinner every day, and then one day you got to make dinner. You're like, I'm not doing that, and I'm ordering takeout.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's talk about this. So simplicity, right? And you were talking about tech. How are you trying to simplify your life and make things a lot easier and less complex?
The most relevant top of my head one is I had 2 Gmail accounts. I was running a workspace paid like business account, and then like the free Gmail, paid one. And some things I like this for, some things I like that for. I can go all day about the features, but I simplified. Like, let's just go into one, feed it all into one. There's one, right? We talk about what we were just talking about with all the automation. So I ran a marketing agency called My Connector, and CRM platforms all through Go High Level for anybody that checks it out. I feel like the cat's out of the bag. We all know what it is now at this point. We've all been pitched it, or if you're in the real estate space. And if you don't know, as soon as I show you what it looks like, you've probably seen it before. So I like that product. That product is a perfect example of what we're talking about, though. It's so capable. It's capable of everything. It's an all-in-one platform. But I have yet to really see, at least with the people we've had through it, anyone really move the needle. And the people that do move the needle with it, that have their own agencies and have the stuff, I think like they would move the needle if they had other tech. I don't think that they need that tech. Now, again, I'm not talking about, I think High Level is one of the best platforms out there. But I'm purposefully removing myself from it because of all it's capable of. I fall into that trap. Like, like it's not simple. Like because you build something, but I could do this too, and I could do this too, and I could do this too, and then you never do what actually makes you money.
Yeah. I think a lot of people need to learn the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, whatever you want to call it, where it's, kind of analyze your day. And you'll see that like out of everything that you do, about 20% of the stuff that you do is actually stuff that moves the needle. All the rest of the 80% of the stuff is kind of just fluff and time filler. So if you focus on your 20% and keep it simple, like we're talking about, you're going to end up having better results than if you try to do a million different things all at once and try to complicate it. Figure out what you want to focus on, narrow down your niche, find out what's moving the needle. Most of the time, hint for all of us agents, it's making our calls, right? Handle just that stuff off the bat. Having your conversations, keep it simple. 5 2-minute conversations per day, something simple. And if we're doing that, that's probably going to move the needle more than trying to figure out, well, I need a landing page, and I need my own website, and I need to own this CRM, and I need to have all these automations and kind of build all this stuff out. It's like you're just wasting time, right? Keep it simple.
And then you'll switch it once it gets really good anyway, if you're like, but
next shiny software.
Well, and here's here's a big perspective flip that hopefully somebody can take value from, because drip campaigns sometimes is like a magic word in real estate, right? I know when I've run a lot of trainings, everybody's, can I have your drip campaigns and what's on your drip campaign and all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
And I think they are good. Like I think there's a place for drip campaigns, but let me put it to this way to anybody listening, and Jason, to you, like, what's better? I'm going to build out a 6-month or a year email follow-up plan for a lead, right? They come in, sends out this email on day 1 to 89, 57, whatever, you know what I mean, that you set up in the climate of May 2024. And the climate of May 2024 will not be what you will think different. Like, we always change. Our mindset changes, we change, conditions change, things don't go as we think they will. We're not, nobody's got a crystal ball. So your vision changes. And you're also putting nothing in there that's really relevant because you're trying to make it time agnostic, right? So
it's going to be generic, right? And think of from a marketing perspective, your message to market match from that message 6 months from now. Is that going to actually hit where you want it to go? If you have a custom automation or drip campaign or whatever you want to call it, whatever you're sending out there, and you don't even realize what you're saying, that's your reputation on the line. So you could have some kind of automation or some kind of drip, and it's going out there, you don't even realize it, and now somebody might get that message, and that's what you want them to think of you, and it's going to be so generic, not provide value, and then they're going to be turned off on it. So I say anything over the first couple of days of providing value, scrap it all, and then one weekly message that's relevant and provides value.
And let me be transparent. I did that. Like, I've done that. I've been there. And I'm not saying that none of it works, by the way. Like, sure, it's better than nothing. Like, I'd rather you have a drip campaign than nothing at all. Like, than no mass email, stuff like that. But here, let me paint the scenario. So we go through what this drip looks like, and we lay those scenarios out. Let's give it a positive. It runs while you're not doing anything. All right, I'll give it a positive. But imagine this, like Jason's saying, email once a week, right? Email once a week in a CRM or a tool that you can select all an email to all of your leads, maybe in a certain status or a certain area, right? And email them something relevant to today's climate or to their status in the pipeline or to the area they're looking at. All of a sudden, now, first of all, it's a little bit more like you're actually talking to them and that you're a little bit more relevant. And it does take one action. So there's still a space for tech to be leveraged. Like a pencil right now is technology because it's enabling me to write thoughts down on this paper so I can remember my talking points during the show. That is technology. Like, without this, I got to rely on what's here. And after having kids, like, I don't know, I feel like my memory just went.
Got to get it out of there. Yeah.
So, there's a space for tech and, but I think like when you try to automate yourself out of the business, and what happens is it gets so complicated. Like, here's the thing. You don't remember all that stack you set up, and I've been there where these things just build and build and build, and then one little piece breaks in the middle of that gigantic web and it's all broken and you don't even know. It's like trying to find a needle in the haystack. Like, what broke,
Mm-hmm.
And you spend more time fixing that stuff. Alex Hormozy, was just listening to one of his podcasts, and I forget the circumstances, but this is the exact parallel, and I want to bring this up for anybody that doesn't listen to that podcast. Is he had an accountant. I think that they were doing I think it was like some type of the financial thing, and they were doing some task, and it took them 4 hours a day, right? It took him 4 hours a day. He's like, can we get this automated? So he went to a tech company and he found out they could. It was going to cost, I think it was $70,000, right? To pay the software company to develop a system to automate this 4 hour a day task. Ooh, sweet. Well, and he did it better on the show, and I'm forgetting the circumstances, but like, he's like, but you make $70,000 and that's only half of your day. So essentially I'm paying $35,000, and that would take, so 2 years of your time is what that's worth, right? And that's if it doesn't break. And then once conditions change and we need to change the program because a law changed, and financial, like taxes are changed, or so in 2 years it might not even be relevant, and I'm gonna you know what I'm saying, and what's your job? Like, do your job. But but when you think about it that way, it's really interesting because that's the side of it I never saw. Like, I got excited about the automations and the shiny objects and the build it so it runs without you, and there's some aspects where that's partially, there's some, but majority of it, you will spend more time adjusting it, fixing it, realizing you don't know what you don't know. So realizing after it's deployed that there's a problem, like with the way it's received or whatever. Like it's something that I just, from my experience, as somebody who's of anything I can tell you that I've really dove deep in, it's this subject. And don't do that.
Well, here's the thing, right? Everybody wants to automate to make their job easier, right? And then there comes to be a point where it's like, well, they automate to replace your job, and then you're all mad. Well, it's like, well, then what do you need you for? It's like, well, I just wanted it easier. Like, think about like grocery stores with the cashiers. Now everything's like, self pay, checkout, self checkout, and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's replacing, but eventually, there was some person saying something along the lines to their manager of, hey, I need some help with this or whatever. How can I make this easier? And now it's like, okay, we're kind of automating all that kind of stuff out of that. You don't want to automate yourself out of your job, right? You want to provide that value and show why you're there. And when you're adding all these little tinkers of automation in there, I think you're, like I said, automating all that kind of automating yourself out of, what you need to be doing instead of just doing the work.
Well, and it's so easy to like think about it. Like I just thought of this. So, like if people funnel hack or whatever, right? So like, all right, so I know this agent automates the world, and I accidentally got on their campaign, or I did on purpose, right? And I know exactly what they say, and on the days they say it, and I keep it in a little folder. And I come to a listing appointment, and I say, look, this guy is going to send you this, this, this on this day, and they might have already. I know they're not relevant. They're not with it today. Like I actually emailed you, and people value what, like they know when it's automated and when it's not, almost 90% of the time.
I don't want to come across like I hate automation, right? Like, so I like the automated like follow-up stuff. If I have a meeting, scheduled for tomorrow at 2, they're going to get a message in the morning, hey, looking forward to our meeting or whatever, and then, an hour before, something similar, like, hey, if you need anything, let me know, blah, 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 that kind of thing. Like, sometimes you get busy and rushing around, and you could kind of automate some of those steps to kind of make it more efficient and make sure that everything's still going smoothly. So I don't want to kind of come across where like don't use any kind of automation at all. You got to text every single person or whatever. There's a time and a place for everything, I would say.
Well, I think alerts and notifications, yeah, like but people trying to replace themselves with it. That's how hard is it to send a text message or pick up the phone and call somebody? Like it's not that hard.
So we beat the automation dead horse, right? What else are you looking to simplify in your life?
Dude, everything. I think like a year ago I transitioned from Apple to Google, Pixel, and that was where it started. But I had everything. I had the MacBook Pro, or I don't even remember what it was. Anyway, I had an iPad Pro, I had iPhone Pro, I had the Apple Watch Ultra, I had AirPods, I had every Apple product, and I would like use the tablet for this, the MacBook for this, for that. I have a freaking $350 Chromebook that's touchscreen and folds, and I have my phone, which it's the Pixel Pro. I could get the cheaper Pixel and it would be fine, but I do some video content, as you can see. Granted, it's another camera. But anyway, like, so my point is, like, I told my wife this the other day. I'm like, I just need my Chromebook and my phone. That's all I need.
Yeah.
All I need.
Yeah. Fancy the touch screens or hipsters with their MacBooks that need this and that. And, I got to automate this so my text messages could go here and all. Yeah, for sure. Keep it simple that way. So besides tech, let's wrap up with like some practical life skills to kind of keep it simple. What's something that you could relate to the audience for life, for kind of just keeping like your personal life simple?
Yeah. Tech's my jam, man. That's what I was talking about.
So I gotta throw curveballs at you.
Yeah, you do. Well, I got to come back though. I got to hit you too here in a second. But the personal life, I think I took the integrity thing seriously. An integrity is I do what I say I'm going to do. And I'm like, really think about that. Like, I have to stop overcommitting to things I know I can't or don't want to do. You know what I mean? So, like, simplify in the way of just like, I am just gonna, like, kind of no excuse. I'm going to commit to my health. I'm going to commit to my wealth, and I'm going to commit to my relationships, health, wealth, and relationships. And the close relationships at that. I'm going to have deeper relationships, deeper focus on health, a deeper focus on wealth, not a wider focus on wealth, not a wider focus on my health, not a wider focus on relationships, just simple shit. Like, dude, I just want to go to the gym 20, 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, 4 or 5. I want to spend 2 hours with my kids weekdays and majority of the weekends with them, and have a date night with my wife as frequently as possible. And health, wealth, relationships, and with wealth, just
Cutting down on unneeded expenses. I think that's a good one.
it's true, but no, that's good. But I think like in staying in the situation, like it's kind of one channel. Like for me, I got lost in like, well, I could do this product and that product, and this product would feed that product. And now it's like, you know what? I run a local team and I partner with agents. So basically, I just coach agents. Whether you join me on the team or you join me at EXP, but it's the same thing. It's just different. Like, we pay for stuff if you're on the team, and we don't pay for it. We just show you how we do it if you partner with us. Like, and that's it. Like, that's it. So you talk about the same stuff, right? As opposed to like, well, I also do a marketing agency, and then I coach stuff, and then I do this, and then title and mortgage and blah, 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 and like all this stuff. And, there's a space for some of that. But you understand my day-to-day focus is basically just, how can I help an agent achieve what they want to, and do they want to do it on the team, or do they want to partner with me? And that's it.
Yeah. Full disclosure, Chad likes to complex the simple. So I gave him a homework assignment last week to I'm like, dude, you gotta shorten your talk track. I'm like, what are you doing? I go, this is how we got on the simple top. So I'm like, you got to bullet point your highlight reel into 2 or 3 sentences, and that's it. You go deep in the weeds. But you're a teacher, so you over explain. I'm like, I keep it simple here. This is the nuts and bolts of the conversation, and then if you need more explanation after that, we could go down deeper into the weeds.
We make a good duo. So
we do.
So keeping it simple, then how are you doing that? And then we'll wrap this guy up.
Yeah, I got some people here at the office now, but so keeping it simple, relationship wise. So super simple with that. One, personal wise expenses, get rid of all the unnecessary things that you don't need. Think of all the subscriptions you never watch and all that kind of stuff. Get rid of all that. Spending time with family. You don't have to come up with these extravagant kind of, hey, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's always nice to kind of plan events and all that. But most of the time, your wife, your kids, they just want to hang out with you. Just find something to do with them. It doesn't have to be like, hey, we're going to go here, and then we're going to go here, and then we're going to have this, and then this super crazy complex day that, just hang out, right? Same thing with the date night with the wife, like dinner and a movie, Netflix and chill, something simple, it's always good, or whatever, business wise, like I said, keeping it super simple, recruiting to the team, having easy systems and processes that are very easy and simple to follow, so they could just go out and sell, and we take care of everything else.
I want you to, and then the final note I'm going to leave this on is like, I want you to hear when Jason and I talk about this stuff today, like, I want you to, I don't know if you can see it or not. I could see it, but it's a constant fight to keep things simple. I feel like the world there's so many paths, and you can't split test life. So you constantly look at what could be if I went this way or that way, or did this thing or did that, So it is a never ending struggle. You'll never be 100% perfect at keeping simple, but if you can just battle back every day at no BS, what moves the needle, what gets me where I want to go, how do I, hit my mission, touch people, do whatever you want to do, make that impact. Like, you'll be in a lot better spot than if you just let the chaos ball consume you and pick you up and send you on a ride.
I'm going to end it with this. This is my fighting words for everybody. Head down, no shiny objects. Do the simple. For me. Do the simple. do your calls.
It's what you say to me, man. I love it. Thank you for your for your conversation here and all of those head down, keep it simple, no shiny objects that you've thrown at me over the last couple months.
We're going to keep this podcast simple today, right? We're actually stuck to our 30-minute time frame, so we're doing better with that without yapping the whole time. So, all right, on to the next one, guys. See you next episode.